What's up guys, welcome back to whatever this is. Today is going to be an entirely different video than I intended to make, but hey, sometimes that's just how it goes. Alright, so originally this video was going to be about me sharing how I am making this jar into a piece of art. It's just a regular old cherry jar that I had, and I decided I wanted to try something new. There will be a video about this soon. It's just, obviously it's not done yet, and I'm in the process of it, but I had to stop the process because something came up this week that I needed to drop everything and put all my attention to that thing. And that thing is, I'm gonna be in my very first art show, and I don't remember how long. Yay! You can see I've got some of my arts out here. I don't know how much of the big stuff I'm gonna take because I'm gonna be in like a 10 by 10 booth, and I don't know if I'm gonna have enough space for all of this stuff, but I'm pulling everything out, everything that I've made in the last couple years, pulling it all out because I wanna see, okay, what do I have? Get it all collected so I can see how it fits into the booth. You can see, like I have right here, this is the pop-up tent that I bought, and I'm buying some grids so I can hang the art in places, and so a lot of prep happening. I'm not gonna be able to make a bunch, but I will be sharing a bunch of old stuff, older pieces, because I'm going to try and get rid of as much as I possibly can. So if you follow me on Instagram or anywhere else, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of retro stuff. Not too retro, but stuff that I've done prior to now. I just think it's, you know, I got to focus on that. Got to focus on that because, so let me give you a little backstory of what happened. Okay. So here's the story. I haven't done one of these walking vlogs in a long time, long time, but it's what's necessary because I need to get some exercise today before I get to work. But anyway, what I'm getting at here today, folks, is that I gotta get prepped for this show. And the way this show happened, the way this came about was very quick, very immediate. Like, I only have 10 days before I am done, and I don't have nearly enough equipment, nearly enough artwork, nearly enough frames, packages. I don't have nearly enough of any of that, so I've got a lot to get done. So what happened was, Adam and I were recording on the podcast. If you don't know who Adam is, go check him out at the poster list. I'll put that in the description. He's a good buddy of mine, and he does shows a lot. He sells t-shirts and art prints and whatnot. And so we were talking on the podcast this week. If you don't know about the podcast, it's Art Lessons Podcast. You can find that on my website. You can find it on iTunes. I will link to that in the description. We are talking about shows and whatnot, and just out of the blue, I decide that, hey, I'm gonna apply to a local show that's happening in a couple of weeks. I know it's probably already booked, but I'm gonna get on the wait list because, why not, let's give it a shot. I did that, I applied, and then I found out that we're pretty booked up. We got a lot of people on the wait list, so I didn't really think much of it. But I did put some tendrils out to some people, Adam being one of them, my other friend Katie, who also happens to work with the group that does the show. They are very well connected with the people that do the show, and so I just said, hey, can you reach out for me? And they both did, even though I thought I was not gonna get in. Next thing you know, I got in. That was yesterday. So here it is Thursday morning, and I've got all this stuff to do. I've got all this product to make. I've got all these packages to assemble, all this stuff to buy, and I've got to do this by a week from this coming Sunday. I was debating whether I was gonna document a lot of this stuff, like and put it up in a video, but I think that I'm just gonna be running around too much, and a lot of it's just gonna be like boring. But if you are not following me on Instagram, you should, because I will be talking about a lot of this stuff on my Insta stories. Or interested in the little minutia of me getting ready for an art show, that's a good place for you to check this out. And I will probably begin today over there today. If you missed whatever happened today, there'll be more. Total sidebar here. This is something, like just a little insight into who I am. I see this on the side of the container, and I immediately think like, hey, that's graphically interesting. So I'm gonna Insta story it right now. This is getting the right perspective. Now I can't press the button. Just like that, instant content. Another total sidebar. But if you're like hedging on what kind of content you should be sharing on your stories, trust me, it doesn't take a lot, and people find stuff like that really interesting. Look, I just do it because it's interesting to me. Other people dig it. You don't have to do that specifically, but don't be so scared of sharing stuff with other people. Okay, so if you're like me and you haven't actually done a show about your art before, you probably have a lot of questions, like I had a lot of questions. Now, I have done shows before, but for a different kind of product altogether. Well, it was posters and prints, but it was more commercial in nature, and so this is different because this is obviously a lot of fine art and a lot of fine art prints and things like that. But that led me to this idea, like, okay, like I have all these questions. So I'm gonna address these questions here, and then you guys can at least see my mindset, because maybe it's the same for you. So one of the most important things that obviously need to get set up is I need to figure out what kind of booth setup I need. How do I need to put my booth together so that it best focuses on the work? Wow, speaking of setup, look at that table. I don't know if I want a big old table in my booth, but man, free. So booth setup is my #1 thought, because I want to figure out, like, what's the best way to display my art. Not just my art, but anything else that I decide I want to share. The art's relatively easy because I just hang it, right? But I have various sizes of things, from really small, like 5x7 style stuff in frames, but then I also have really big stuff. And how much of the big stuff should I take? Because I don't want it to dominate everything. I actually want to sell some things, and I'm not going to be selling $1,000 paintings off at this craft show, art show, whatever you want to call it. I will sell prints, I will sell some small originals probably, and so I'm gonna have to fill the space with those little ones. That's question #1, working on it. Curb couch. A lot of furniture on the streets in Long Beach. There's this woman who was like walked out of a building behind me, and I didn't want to invade her privacy by filming, so I crossed the street and I took a turn and I took another turn, and she kept following me. Lady, I'm doing this for your benefit. Leave me alone. It's like I couldn't anticipate where she was gonna go, and I just happened to be guessing exactly where she was going. Other questions that I'm thinking about is, what exactly am I going to sell? Am I gonna sell all the entire range of my art, or am I just going to sell a few pieces along the way? Like maybe one big piece just as kind of a display. That's mostly what I'm thinking. And then kind of gravitate a few of the other ones in, keep some stock available in case I need to put something back up after something gets sold. It's one of these things I just have to consider and to think about. I've got so much. The other side of that is that I don't want to be taking so much that I'm just spending my entire time loading in and loading out. Efficiency is a major thing for me on these shows, and so yeah, so I've got a lot to consider in that. The third most important thing for me, and maybe this is a question not for everybody else, is that because I have all this other art that I might not necessarily have up on my website or up on my Etsy or wherever, I need to get all of that up there so that just in case somebody comes in, says they love it, don't have the means to purchase it right there on the spot, which would be ridiculous because I'll be taking PayPal, credit cards, all that other stuff. But if they decide that they don't want to do it right away, but they may want to do it later, well, I'm gonna have all of that stuff up on the website. So I'm gonna be balancing a lot of my time doing that. That's one of the biggest questions, is how do I balance my time? Fourth question, which is actually, this one is really important, and this is probably the most stressful because it's a crapshoot. It's a little bit of a crapshoot because I want to buy some prints so that I can have prints available. I want to have mugs. I want to have some other things that I have to get printed. And in order to get printed, I got to spend money. And in order to spend money, I got to take money away from other things. And so if I'm taking money away from other things to get these things printed, I want to make sure that I'm getting the things that I want printed most, or rather that I think are going to sell the best. I want them printed, but the thing is I'm not really sure what that is, and so just by getting stuff printed, I am taking a gamble. I may or may not sell any of it, so I'll spend all this money and not sell those things. Hopefully that won't be the case. Hopefully I'll at least sell some of it, but now the question is, what do I get printed? How much? what kind of stock should I have available? If I'm gonna get mugs done, how many mugs do I need? If I'm going to get prints done, how many prints do I need? These are important questions, and honestly, I don't have the answer. It's just gonna be one of these things. Like, this show is all about discovery. I think I'm going to be asking a lot of questions when people walk into my booth, because I'm gonna want to know, like, why that over this, or what interests you most about this? Like, do you prefer these things over those things? Here's another example. So let's just say I want to get some mugs done. One of the things that I have done in the past is that I've created like a singular image. A very popular one is my Do the Work mug, which, if you don't know what that is, you can go back and look at it. I'll hopefully have it up available soon if it's not up on the website yet. It's a single graphic. It goes on the side of the mug. That's one aspect of making mugs. The other aspect is doing like a complete wrap, where it's a design around the entire mug. And some of my work would be really work really well that way, but I don't know which ones. I don't know if the graphics work better or the wraps work better. I just don't know, and I'm just gonna have to roll the dice. The other thing about the mugs, and this is actually a big one, because I'm gonna have to make a decision on that today, because if I'm gonna get them done, they need at least 5 to 7 business days to produce, and I'm gonna have to go pick them up once they're done, and 5 to 7 business days puts me right at next Friday. If I don't do it today, then I'm not gonna do it at all, because I don't wanna spend all of that money and risk not even having them available, because I don't wanna carry too much stock just sitting around in my warehouse, my studio. I want to have stuff that will sell. Now, I don't have any illusions that all of it's going to sell, but I do understand that some of it might sell, and I want to have it available. But if it's not going to be available for the show, then I'm not going to do it. So I got to get to work, which is why I got to get out of here. I don't know why I chose to park myself and walk along one of the busiest streets that heads from my house to the beach, but that's what I did. That's the gist of the things that I'm thinking about, the questions that I have, the problems, the quandaries, the stress that I have about this show. But I'm also internally grateful for the opportunity to do the show. Like I said, being on that wait list, I really didn't think I was gonna get on. And so the fact that the folks at Deer Handmade Life have chosen to allow me some space to do that, and Patchwork Show is the show that I'm talking about. It's here in Long Beach. By the time you see this, well, it's got a few days before it happens, so come check it out if you're anywhere even remotely in the area. We'll link to that in the description. Come support me, come cheer me on, come tell me, hey Dave, your booth doesn't look that great, or hey, your booth looks awesome. So again, this wasn't the video that I wanted to make, and you know, it's like, hey, it's an off-the-cuff one, and not typical of me lately, but hopefully you stick around for the next one, because that one's gonna be more of a process video, and lots more of that stuff coming soon. But if you are interested in more of this experiential stuff, please let me know. Put a comment in the comments and tell me what you think. I probably won't do a lot of these, but if you're into it, maybe I will. I don't know. You can sway me, but I got work to do. I got exercise to do. I got work to do. So I'm gonna get going. So, folks, thank you very much. Remember, be good today, be better tomorrow. See ya.